Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. So yes, let's get on and upcycle some of last year's Halloween decorations, shall we? So here I've got a pumpkin that I bought last year from B&M's. Well, actually I tell a lie. I did buy one last year, but I can't find it anywhere. So I got this one, it was in the sale for £1. And I'm also using some Dulux tester pots that I got from the range. I think they were 89p, just so that I can paint over the actual marbling effect on this pot and make it all one colour. These painter pots are ideal if you've just got small things to do, and it would do probably about 4 or 5 of this size of pumpkin. I should add it's the type of paint that you would use for painting over wallpaper or painting your walls. Can't remember what it's called at the moment, but I'm sure you can put it in the comments. So while we're just painting this, let's have a chat about where I've been. So it has been quite some time since I've posted a video. I did post one last week, but it has been months, literally, since I posted. And for one, I was getting quite frustrated with YouTube. It seemed that I couldn't get past a certain point of subscribers. People would start subscribing and then suddenly I'd lose a lot of subscribers, and it was quite frustrating to me. I don't know if other content creators have found this, and if you have, please let me know in the comments, because it just seemed strange. I know my videos are not that great, but people were subscribing, and say if I got 3 subscribers in 1 week, then a couple of days later I would lose 3. It seemed very strange to me. Anyway, so once I'd finished doing the first lot of paint, I then went in with my heat gun and just dried it off quickly, and then went on and added another coat. And just to get into the smaller areas, I then used a small brush. I just dabbed it onto the roller on the paint and just made sure that I went round and got all the areas that might be missing and the little areas around the stem. And then I just dried that off again with the heat gun. So as well as the frustration with YouTube, I've also not been well. I've been suffering from really bad headaches. I had stomach problems, you name it. I've probably had it over this last few months. Well, I'm saying few months, it's actually been nearly a year now that I've been suffering, especially with the headaches. It's all on one side of my face and it looks like I could have some sort of neuralgia. I'm just waiting for some further tests by the neurologist to see what it actually is. Anyway, so I bought these little skull napkins from the range. They were £1, and I'm going to decoupage the actual pumpkin. So here I'm just trying to get off the ply that's on the back of the napkin. So this turned out as 3 ply. So I did try with my nail. Eventually I licked it like you would if you're trying to open a plastic bag, and then that finally got it off. And as well as the neuralgia, I could have celiac disease as well, which is a gluten intolerance. So I've been trying the gluten-free diet, which is not my favourite. So as a bonus there, you'd have noticed that the second ply on the napkins actually had a shadow, which I can also use as well. So I'm just using this rotary cutter. So it's a cutter for fabric, really. And I'm cutting up the napkin into strips. Now please do, if you're using these, please use a mat. Don't do it on your favourite table, you'll end up ruining it. So I cut this into strips, quite thick strips really, and then I just placed them on top of each other so they was easier to handle before I started decoupaging them onto the actual pumpkin. So I'm going to go in quite liberally with the Mod Podge and a nice fluffy brush and put it onto the pumpkin so that the napkin has something to stick on and it will stick securely. So you can use any sort of glue for this really. You can use school glue, anything like that. Obviously I wouldn't recommend using super glue. That would be something I would do actually, just to be stupid. But yeah, just make sure that you coat it all over where you're going to put the piece of napkin, and then just lay the napkin down where you want it. So I started laying this down and then realised that I wanted it a little bit further up, so I just pulled it up. It's quite easy to use. It's when you press it down that you can't really get it off. But just give it a firm press down, and as you can see here, I'm trying to peel it up. But once you get it in the place where you want it, give it a good press down, and then I tend to go over the top of it with the Mod Podge again and the brush just to smooth it down. And don't worry, you will get wrinkles. I've not found anyone on any YouTube channel yet that can't lay it down without there being some sort of a wrinkle in there. If you do know someone who can do it, please put their name in the comments so I can go and have a look what they do. But on the various channels that I've watched doing various different decoupage techniques, most of them do have wrinkles. So as I say, I just go along with the brush. Now you'll see me pouncing around the edge of the, what's it called, the stem there, and I'll explain why later on. So the headaches that you get and the neuralgia that they think I've got, it's quite a long, tricky name to pronounce, so I won't even attempt it. But it's not like a headache. I always say, oh, I've got a headache, but it's not like a headache. It basically, it's excruciating, the pain. It feels like someone's sliding a hot needle from the top of my head down behind my high, behind my high. I can't even say the word high. You know what I mean. Down into like the back of my cheek. It's so painful. There are some days where I get up and I've got it and I attempt to go to work, but I have to turn around and come home. It's so painful. You'll notice in this video later on that it becomes night quite quickly. You can tell by the lighting, and that was because whilst I was doing this, it was just after I put this last piece on actually, the pain got so bad that I basically took some painkillers and I went to bed. The painkillers, I don't tolerate painkillers very well, so 2 paracetamol and I'm ready for a sleep for 3 hours. So yeah, I went to bed, probably spent 7 hours in bed, and woke up with a slight pain, but not as bad as it had been. So once I got all the pumpkin covered with the napkin, I just went round and made sure everywhere was down and everywhere was secure. So all these strips, there was no like little pieces stuck up anywhere. I just smoothed them all down and made sure they were all correct. And then I went along with the heat gun and dried it all off. Here is where the pouncing around the stalk pays off, because you can actually just pull off the bits and pieces that are lapped over. However, I did miss one. Can you see it? So at the bottom, I didn't go all the way underneath with the decoupage paper, the napkin, sorry. So I just made sure all that was down and secure. I'm just pushing it down there with a bit of Mod Podge, and then I went over that with the heat gun just to make sure it was all secure. So for the stalk, I just went over it with some black acrylic paint. I gave it a couple of coats, just drying it off in between, making sure that it was all covered. And I was quite careful not to get it onto the actual napkin around the end of the stalk. I do apologise for the shadows in this shot. As previously mentioned, I'm having problems speaking today. It was night time. In fact, this was probably 2 o'clock in the morning. So I'd sat the wrong way round, basically. So yeah, I went over the bottom as well with the black acrylic paint just to make sure it all matched. I did a couple of coats of that and then dried that off also with the heat gun. Following that, I decided to go over with some of this gloss varnish so it gives it a nice shiny effect. I did a couple of coats of that, used it liberally, and then dried it off with the heat gun. So if you are new to the channel, guys, and you do subscribe, please pop your name in the comments and let me know, or give me a thumbs up or something. And if you are subscribed and you're watching it, please also comment to say that you've seen this video. It's just something I'd like to keep my eye on, you know, with the problems I think I'm having with YouTube, just to see what happens. That'd be great if you'd do that. So as I say, I'm applying this quite liberally, and I'm just using an up and down motion, just because the brush was leaving some little marks. They're not very good quality brushes, but just so that they didn't leave, you know, like streaks in there. And then I went over it with the heat gun. I also went over the bottom and made sure that was varnished also. So what do you think, guys? Please do let me know. And yes, these skulls will be in another video coming up where I upcycle those as well. So do let me know what you think. How would you do it differently? What napkins or decoupage paper or style would you go for? Do let me know what you think. I think it turned out great. I really do like it. Yes, please do help my channel grow. Because I've been off so long now, it means I have to restart with all the videos. So the videos previously now don't count towards like the watch hours that you have to get on YouTube. And don't forget this little pot. There is a video showing how I did that also. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.